How the High Street has changed in the 40 years up to 2022. In 1982, I was very concerned about the number of old buildings disappearing in the town, so I photographed Orpington High Street to create a record. I have gone back at regular intervals ever since to photograph, and then in 2022, the year of the Platinum Jubilee, video. So what has changed between 1982 and 2022? I'll be preparing a series of videos showing how the High Street has changed over these 40 years. Please subscribe to get updates as I release them. Brought to you by Eclectic Experience, change seen through images. The War Memorial and Cenotaph in Orpington, as in many towns, is a well-known landmark. It is situated at the key junction and is at the end of the High Street. It is also Grade 2 listed. The area around has on one side housing and on the other Tescos and the start of the High Street retail area along with the village hall. It also is the site of the town's sign. Since 1982, the area around the War Memorial has seen major change. Going back to 1982, with the view towards Station Road, there are a lot of changes. The concrete car park has gone and been replaced by Tesco's. The 3 phone boxes are no longer there, and the street furniture is very different. It is interesting how in 1982 there were no railings. Then they were added, and then by 2022 planting has replaced most of them, with only a few left at the bottom of Station Road. We will see more of the change in street layout later on in the video. Comparing the same view 40 years apart, the differences are clear. There's been a Chinese restaurant on the corner for a very long time. In 1982 it was the New Palace restaurant. In 2022 it is the King Palace. Moving clockwise to look down the High Street, the buildings on the left are substantially the same, but the businesses occupying the shops have changed, sometimes several times over the years. To get an idea of change, let's look at the next 4 units in more detail, the results of which are interesting and reflect the changes over 4 decades. In 1982, next to the Chinese restaurant, was a fish and chip shop, the Friar Tuck. Before then, it was Martin's the newsagent, which later moved further down the High Street. Look at the signage and shop front for XL, Oxfam and Lillian Ship and see how it changes over the years. Of particular note is how Lillian Ship used to have a big heavy wooden door and stonework, which is very different to the glass front of later years. In 1992 the end unit is now occupied by Crispin's Fish and Chips, with the others remaining the same, but XL and Oxfam have changed logos. 5 years on, in 1997, the end unit is now Dover's Traditional Fish and Chips. XL has been replaced by the Dental Care Centre. Oxfam was unchanged, as was the estate agent. However, we can see its shop front has changed, with the old wooden door and stonework being replaced or covered up. In 2002, the end unit sign now just says Fish and Chips, with everything else within the 4 units remaining the same. Another 5 years on, in 2007, sees the end unit has changed again and is now the Blue Bell Fish Bar. The Dental Care Centre is now Orpington Dental Care, and Oxfam has changed its logo. In 2012, the only change to the shops is the end unit is now the Kebab Centre. However, the street layout has changed, with the railings being replaced by planting, new wider paving and a new light by the zebra crossing. In 2017, Quality Fish and Chips and Kebabs now occupies the end unit, but all 3 others have updated their signage and the estate agents has changed frontage to a lighter all-glass design. Now in 2022, for the first time since the survey started, there is no significant change. All businesses and shop front are the same as 2017. Looking up at the building itself, it is substantially the same as in 1982, though the original windows have now been replaced and there are now satellite dishes. In summary, though there have been many changes to the shop fronts, amazingly 2 of the 4 businesses are the same as 40 years ago. Oxfam and Linian Ship, which, by the way, has been in Orpington for over 75 years. In comparison, the end unit, now Quality Fish and Chips and Kebabs, has only been the same in recent years, having changed in most photos since 1982. Looking down the High Street at the street layout, it can be seen it remained fairly constant over the years until in 2012 the pavement was extended, the road reduced and the island in the middle removed. This layout is still the same in 2022. Moving to the site of the village hall. In 1982, after nearly 20 years of not having a village hall, the last one being pulled down following a fire in 1962 on a different site, the new village hall was nearing completion and can be seen behind the hoarding. Please note this is not the village hall that stands here in 2022. A few observations about 1982. If we zoom in on the hoarding, we can see an advert for Old Holborn, rolling tobacco. This would not be allowed today as tobacco advertising is banned. In the distance on the house on the corner, we can see some old style fencing. If we look in 2022, it is still amazingly there. Moving round the corner into Spur Road, looking down, there's abandoned shopping trolleys, which is very common in 1982. The style of the public seat has changed and the post box is no longer there. Moving round, looking at the billboards, we see another advert for Old Holborn, as well as adverts for companies still around today, Heineken and then Renault. Moving across from the VW van on the road, we see another old style but broken bin next to the zebra crossing. Then back to the other side of the road, an old style bus shelter. In the next picture, behind the hoardings, a new office block can be seen that is constructed in a similar style to the village hall. The office block is still there in 2022. At the rear of this office block was an old builder's merchant, the old working sheds of which can still be seen here. The village hall is a key local amenity built on a prominent site. However, before the village hall was built, this corner looked quite different. I remember there used to be 2 air raid shelters on the edge of Spur Road, and the land used to build the new village hall was waste ground. Older residents believe it was the grounds of an old house that was used as a doctor's surgery. As can be seen in the photos, the new village hall only lasted until 2008 when it was demolished and was replaced by the current building, which is a mixture of commercial and residential. Zooming in, we can see more of this mixed use building, with the Anytime Fitness Gym and Explore Learning, as well as the main entrance. There was no retail on the previous hall or residential accommodation. Another significant change was the widening of the path. If we zoom back out, we can see the path is a comfortable size now. Looking at a picture of the old hall, we can see the difference and how narrow it used to be. The change has made a significant difference. Looking at Spur Road, a main route to the A224 and then on to the M25. Some history. When the War Memorial was built, Spur Road, now a major road artery, did not exist. The War Memorial was erected in 1921 to commemorate the fallen from World War I, or the Great War as it was then known. It was designed by a local architect. When first built, it was at a junction of 3 roads, Sevenoaks Road, Station Road and the High Street, with a lion facing down each. It was also not originally in a roundabout, just a road junction. Incredibly, it was not until 1999 that plaques for the fallen from World War II and other conflicts were added. Moving round to the corner of Sevenoaks Road and Station Road, we see the buildings in Braested Close, built in the 1980s. In 1982, only trees can be seen. This was the site of an arts and craft house which had what looked like a coned tower. The new properties can be seen throughout all the following years. To mark the millennium, an Orpington Town sign was erected on the corner of the High Street and Spur Road, seen here over the years. Zooming in, we can see the Orpington sign depicts the famous Buff Orpington chicken, the walnut trees, the source of the River Cray and the Priory. Going back to 1982, the large concrete car park that had dominated the roundabout area, as seen in these photos, was in 2007 in the process of being demolished. A new Tesco superstore was built on the site, along with a new car park and extra accommodation. Going back in time, before the car park, there were playing fields on this site. These are some pictures of the actual demolition. At the same time as Tesco's was built, the large houses on Orchard Grove were demolished and replaced with the accommodation we see today. I have highlighted only the major changes that I have noticed. Look closer and I'm sure you will see many more. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If so, I'd be grateful if you could press the like button. I'll be working my way through the High Street, aiming to make similar videos, so please subscribe to the channel, click the alerts bell and add comments, especially with any additional information. Thank you for watching Eclectic Experience. Change seen through images.